Hello everyone and welcome to the third official Tomb Raider podcast. This is Keir in Idos, UK, and with me I have Trolls over in Crystal in California. So hey Trolls.
Hello Keir.
Thanks very much for spending the time to do a podcast with us. And how are you today?
I'm pretty fine. It's sunny over here, so I cannot make any complaints.
So Trolls is here to talk us through the new Tomb Raider Underworld theme, which he's composed, which you guys can hear on the official TombRaider.com site. And I've got a few questions here from the forum as well, and some questions that I've composed myself. Okay, so without further ado, the first question is from Cosmos, and he thought the score, or he or she thought the scores from Legend and Anniversary were brilliant, and wants to know if you'll be returning as the composer for Underworld.
I'm returning as the main theme composer on Underworld, and I'm also doing music supervision, but I have the great pleasure of collaborating with another composer who's known as Colin O'Malley, who's doing the bulk of the in-game and cinematic scores. So my main job in this regard has mainly been to flesh out the main themes, and particularly the core main theme, and then supervise the music production as a whole.
Okay, and in terms of the supervision, what kind of role did you take when you were directing him or helping him?
So I think we've learned a lot of lessons on both Legend and Anniversary. I think for me there were some thematic discussions. We never really utilized the main theme in the context I would have liked to, and I think it's always an issue when you're a composer and you're sort of supervising yourself, which I did on Anniversary and Legend. This time around we wanted to change it a bit, so we actually had a music supervisor, and I'm also doing production on the side, so we felt it was a good idea for me to supervise audio while doing my daily production tasks, but really have almost like I've been working in kind of an external capacity, dealing with the composer, trying to explain the vision of the game, trying to funnel a lot of thoughts from our creative director, Eric, and see how I could support his vision musically. So it's been there's been a more thoughtful process, whereas on the previous games it was just me doing my thing, but this time around we actually had time to investigate and analyze all the different aspects about music that we wanted.
Where did you get your inspiration from when you were composing the music?
When I'm confused in my composition, which I'm often, I think I've been asked this question a few times, and my answer tends to be different every time. So I think I'm constantly changing my path for inspiration. Normally I don't feel anything, I don't hear anything or see anything, but that was before I got conscious about the fact that I'm connected to the spirit world. So my best answer to you is that I get my inspiration from spirits, and I figured that out because I normally compose between 11 to 3 in the night, which is my prime time, and I've started hearing voices in my head, and I'm sure everybody's going to call me absolutely crazy, but I'm actually hearing voices of ghosts or spirits talking to me, and I'm sure there's a logical, psychological explanation for this, but that's the best reason I can give you.
Wow. How long does it take you to compose all the music for a game? I guess for Legend, like how long in terms of composing time did it take?
Yeah, Legend was the longest score I've ever worked on. It took me roughly 9 months to do 4.5 hours of music. Some of it went into the game, some of it didn't. On Anniversary, it took roughly 5 months, and on this project, it's been taking roughly 9-10 months because we've been dealing with the external composer, and we've been very, very, very sort of focused on getting the main theme that everybody felt comfortable with, a new main theme. So that's been taking quite a while as well. We did 22 revisions on the main theme before we felt we had something we could work with.
And what was the overall tone and atmosphere you were looking to deliver with the soundtrack for Underworld and the main theme?
There's been sort of different visions. For the in-game stuff, it was important to learn the lessons from Anniversary and Legend. We really wanted to have a more ambient, subdued kind of score. I think I went totally over the hill both on Legend and Anniversary, which was partially serving the purpose of those games, but this time around we wanted to have a more subdued, emotional type of score, but we also wanted some stronger thematic aspects, which I think we didn't have so much in the previous games. So we paid particular attention to the main theme, wanting to create something that was super catchy that you can remember once you've heard it a few times. And that took a long time to figure out what that was supposed to be. And then we also wanted that the main theme, particularly, to be of a journey. You'll hear that it's utilizing the old Tomb Raider theme in the beginning and the end, and then it's utilizing the new theme in the middle. And the new theme is essentially just 5 notes repeated over and over and over through modulation, which is change of chords and melodic structures. So we wanted the piece to have an Underworld tone, but yet to be a journey, because this game for sure is going to be a journey like we've never experienced before in a Tomb Raider context.
Okay, and Sam Reeves asks, will the music be more orchestral or contemporary throughout the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the lessons we learned on Anniversary, that we really a lot of the great feedback we got from the forums and through playtesting and through reviews was that people really enjoyed the orchestral score. So this one is purely orchestral. There's no beats, no rhythmic elements like we saw on Legend.
The Tomb Raider asks, will the music be playing during levels? So I guess will there be a constant soundtrack, or will it be connected to events and stuff like that?
Yeah, one of the great advantages of being a supervisor and the capacity I have is that I could pay more attention to detail in terms of how we are using music fragments in the game. I'm sure some people are aware of that. We invented a methodology called microscoring, which is essentially about breaking a score down to its tiniest components. So in this game, I think we've taken that to a new level. You have way more small scores that are not loopable, which means they only play one time, that are triggered on specific events. And I think people will see that there's going to be more fragmented type of music placed all over the game, but it's not going to be the constant music that it was in Legend, for example. So it's probably more in the direction of Anniversary, but with even more musical fragments to complement the play experience.
How closely do you follow the development of the game when you're producing the music?
We follow it very closely. We have, with the audio group, we have a daily. Every day we actually play through the game and we discuss it as a group. We discuss how we can improve the environment. We discuss music implementation. What kind of music would work in this environment? Do we really need music? And I think a good lesson for all of us is that silence is actually the 7th component in terms of scoring a Tomb Raider game as well. So we've been paying attention to silence and what silence can mean in a game. It doesn't mean it's like totally silent. It just means where do we really want to tone things down in order to build up more anticipation. And I think Legend was a good counterproduct of that, where it was just all loud throughout the whole game, so we didn't feel we were utilizing silence in the right capacity.
Okay, and what's the favourite piece of music you've composed for Tomb Raider?
So I'm very, very slow as a person, and it takes me many years to acknowledge something. Like I couldn't listen to the Legend score for years. It's only now I've started appreciating it.
Sure.
So if I have to make a future projection, I would say the best score is probably the main theme for the new game, even though I don't like it right now because I've just been spending a month with it. But I think that would probably be the one. I know it's been a more of an emotional journey for me to create that piece, so let's see.
And what's the toughest thing about making music for Tomb Raider?
I think it's extremely challenging that there's such a diversity in environments that you need to score for each of the different sections of the world, wherever the game takes place. So you need a composer who's somehow versatile in scoring in different ways, where there's different types of orchestration, different types of melodic content, usage of ethnic instruments and so forth, which you're using in this game as well. I think that's difficult, but it's also the fun part of it because you can allow to spread out your palette as a composer and compose more in a more versatile way, compared to doing like a shooter where it's all going to be more action-based and so forth.
What's your one favourite thing for you about producing the music for Lara and for Tomb Raider?
I think it's an amazing opportunity to express the game in a new way. When I say express, I mean it's amazing to see when you have the game without any audio on it, how audio breathes life into the game. There's that breath of life really makes the game come alive just with sound. And then when you add music to it, there's a whole emotional dimension going into the game. And I love when we put music in there and we see how it comes alive. A good example for people to test this out is if you're watching a commercial and you shut down the audio on your television, the commercial totally loses its purpose. It's kind of the same thing with a game. So when we put audio in the game, and music in particular, I think we see new layers of emotion happening in the game, which is of great joy.
We're short on time. Is there one thing you'd like to say to all the Tomb Raider fans about the Tomb Raider Underworld theme, and then they can go and listen to it on the site?
Only pay sympathy that it's been quite a journey for me to compose the piece. That's the only thing that I have to say. I don't know really why this main theme has been such a struggle for me. This is still something I'm wondering about on an artistic level, but the piece is supposed to be a journey, and it's been a journey for me as well. So maybe that can provide context to the painful effort of making it.
Brilliant. Well, on behalf of all the Tomb Raider fans, thanks very much for producing it. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Anyone hasn't heard it yet, it's on tombRaider.com, so go and have a listen now. Thanks very much, Trolls, and look forward to hearing the rest of the game.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, bye.
Cheers.